You walk into the room like nothing's wrong, but inside, it feels like something's missing. You check the boxes of success, but feel like an imposter in your own skin. What if the person you're pretending to be is actually closer to who you really are? I once met a woman, let's call her Elena, who seemed to have it all. High-paying job in marketing, a fiancé, weekends in Napa. But over coffee, she leaned in and said, "It all feels like a role I'm playing, like I'm auditioning for a version of me that doesn't exist." She wasn't alone. Napoleon Hill might have said she was caught in the gap between reality and potential. In his teachings, particularly in Think and Grow Rich, Hill emphasized something radical for his time. You don't wait for success. You act as if it's already yours. But that doesn't mean faking it. It means stepping into a new self-image before the world gives you permission. Because the subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between what's real and what's rehearsed. It simply responds to repetition, emotion, and identity. This is where so many of us get stuck. We think the transformation starts with action, but in truth, it starts with belief systems, with mental conditioning, with a deep inner shift in how we see ourselves. That's what Hill called auto-suggestion, feeding the subconscious with repeated affirmations of a future identity. You start to believe, and then you begin to act differently, not the other way around. Let's break this down. If your self-image says you're average, even when opportunities knock, you'll hesitate. If your subconscious programming believes you're not worthy, you'll sabotage the very things you want. If your identity hasn't caught up to your ambition, your progress will feel heavy, strained, unsustainable. That's not laziness, that's misalignment. So when Hill advised us to act as if, he wasn't promoting delusion. He was inviting a deeper internal congruence, a personal transformation grounded in the idea that the way to become is to first embody. This is part of an identity shift. And it's why so many strategies fail. They operate at the behavior level, while our real limitations live at the identity level. Think of it like this. You're planting seeds in rocky soil. All the hustle in the world won't help if your inner world still clings to old labels. Unworthy, not enough, too late. To shift, you need to change the narrative. What does the future version of you believe? How do they speak, walk, handle setbacks? What do they trust about themselves that you don't yet? Hill believed that belief comes first, not as hype, but as faith in yourself, the kind that rewires your nervous system to stop fighting against your own success. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Visualization power plays a huge role here. Athletes do it, CEOs do it. Roger Bannister didn't break the 4-minute mile just with training. He visualized the outcome repeatedly until his subconscious accepted it as reality. When you pair belief with action and repetition with embodiment, things start to shift. But it's not always glamorous. You'll feel like an imposter. You'll hesitate before making bold moves. You'll flinch the first time you say, "I am successful," out loud. That discomfort, that's not failure. It's the old you making room for the new you. So act as if, not because you're pretending, but because your subconscious needs evidence to believe. And that evidence comes from you, from the posture you choose, the words you speak, the moments you show up, even when no one else sees it. Your mind doesn't wait for proof. It follows belief. Napoleon Hill knew this. And if you're feeling stuck, lost, or like you're playing someone else's role, maybe it's not because you're broken. Maybe you're just rehearsing the wrong identity. If you've ever felt like you're living someone else's life, keep going. What comes next might feel like unraveling, but it's how the real you emerges. And when you're ready to walk with that version, you'll find your place here at Mindset Mastery Hub. And no, this doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of becoming layered with doubt, courage, and daily decisions. It's the quiet resistance when you choose presence over performance. It's the shift in language when you speak possibility instead of limitation. And it's the sacred space you create when you stop apologizing for wanting more. Because this isn't just about growth, it's about becoming your future self, the one who already walks in alignment, makes decisions with clarity, and leads from a place of quiet confidence. You've done everything right, so why does it still feel wrong? They see success. You feel like a stranger to yourself. What if what you're calling failure is just misaligned identity? There's a hidden chapter in every transformation story that no one talks about, the identity crisis. It shows up quietly, after the promotions, after the wins, when life looks good from the outside, but something inside feels disconnected. You sit alone in a quiet room and wonder, if I've done everything I'm supposed to, why do I still feel like this? Napoleon Hill saw this pattern repeatedly. He understood that the reason most people fail isn't because they lack desire or discipline. It's because their identity hasn't caught up with their ambition. They're trying to build a new life while holding on to an outdated self-image. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. And most of us never question who we believe we are. You've been conditioned by parents, culture, experiences to carry subconscious programming about your worth, your limits, and your place in the world. That programming shapes your behavior more than any strategy ever will. So when you try to change, when you set new goals, adopt new habits, or pursue a new career, your subconscious kicks in. It whispers, "That's not you," and pulls you back to the familiar. It's not laziness. It's your identity doing its job, protecting the status quo. That's why personal transformation doesn't start with action. It starts with an identity shift. Let me explain with a metaphor. It's like planting roses in frozen ground. You can water it all day, but nothing will grow until the environment is ready. Your internal climate, your belief systems, your self-image needs to thaw. This is why Napoleon Hill's concept of acting as if is so powerful. It's not about faking confidence. It's about introducing your subconscious to a new identity before it becomes visible to the world. When you act as if you're already the version of yourself you want to be, when you speak, move, and make choices from that place, you're training your system to accept a new normal. It feels awkward at first, maybe even dishonest, but it's the most honest thing you can do because it aligns with your potential, not your past. Thomas Watson did this with IBM. Before they were an industry leader, he had his employees dress and behave like professionals at the top of their field. It wasn't about appearances, it was about identity training. The outer action began reshaping the inner belief. You can do the same. Visualize your future self, not as fantasy, but as mental rehearsal. That's visualization power. This is more than mindset. It's mental conditioning. It's how athletes win championships before they step onto the field. Roger Bannister didn't just train his body, he trained his belief. He saw himself breaking the 4-minute mile over and over until his body had no choice but to follow what the mind already accepted. That's the secret. Your future doesn't unfold from hustle alone, it emerges from alignment. But here's the messy truth. Shifting identity feels like chaos. You start saying, "I am successful," and your chest tightens. You act with more confidence, and imposter syndrome roars. You visualize your dream life, and doubt fights back harder. This isn't weakness. This is the shedding of your former self. You are not broken. You are becoming. And yes, it hurts, because parts of you that once protected you now feel threatened. The version of you that survived isn't always the version that will thrive. But here's the promise. If you keep going, your nervous system will catch up. Your subconscious will begin to trust the new signals. And soon, it won't be acting as if, it will just be you. So if you feel lost in the shift, breathe. This is the part where most people quit, but it's also the part where your story changes. This isn't a breakdown. It's the threshold of becoming your future self. And when the dust settles, when your actions, beliefs, and identity finally line up, that's when personal transformation becomes inevitable. If you're navigating that inner chaos right now, know this, you're not alone. And your next version is closer than you think. Here long enough, and one day, the mirror won't reflect the past. It'll reflect who you decided to become. And that decision starts now. And if there's one thing Hill made clear, none of this works without faith in yourself. It's the silent anchor beneath every decision, every bold step, every leap into the unknown. What if the only thing missing was your belief? It's not that you're not capable, it's that your old self doesn't recognize this version of you. There's a difference between pretending and preparing, and your future self is already waiting. Imagine this. You've finally reached a milestone. Maybe it's landing the job, finishing the degree, getting out of debt. On the outside, it should feel like victory. But inside, there's a quiet ache, a voice that says, "Why doesn't this feel like enough?" That ache isn't confusion, it's disconnection. You've been living from an old identity, one shaped by survival, not fulfillment. And now, standing in your new reality, your nervous system doesn't know how to receive it because you're still wired to expect struggle. Napoleon Hill understood this gap well. He knew that without alignment between belief and behavior, even the best outcomes feel hollow. You can't become who you're meant to be while apologizing for who you were. And that shift, it doesn't happen by force. It happens when you stop chasing and start integrating. This is where healing begins. Your subconscious has been programmed to match your past. Everything you internalized, your failures, your traumas, your has become part of how you see yourself. So even when change is available, it feels foreign. That's why acting as if isn't just about performance. It's about inner rewiring. It's about giving your body, your mind, and your energy new instructions. You're not faking it. You're rehearsing a reality your nervous system hasn't met yet. And that's powerful. Roger Bannister didn't break the 4-minute mile by just running harder. He mentally rehearsed it daily, vividly, until his cells responded as if it had already happened. That's visualization power at work. When you act as if long enough, your subconscious accepts it. The discomfort fades, the doubt weakens, and what felt like trying becomes just living. But here's what no one tells you. This shift is painful, not because it's wrong, but because it involves grieving. Grieving the you who worked so hard to survive. Grieving the identities you wore to stay safe. Grieving the stories that once protected you, but now keep you small. This is what personal transformation really looks like. It's not loud. It's not glamorous. It's choosing to sit with your discomfort instead of running from it. It's letting go of the familiar version of you, even when that version still gets praised. And slowly, gently, your future self starts leading the way. Not with presence. Napoleon Hill often said, "The ladder of success is never crowded at the top." What he didn't say out loud, but implied in every teaching, is that the climb isn't just external, it's internal. You'll know you're healing when you stop needing to prove. When success no longer feels like a mask, but a mirror. When what you visualize doesn't feel like a dream, it feels like home. Ready to stop chasing and start aligning? Your future doesn't need more hustle. It needs your presence. And that presence begins with believing that the next version of you is already real. You don't need to become her. You just need to let her lead. If that feels like the beginning of something new, pause here. Breathe into that space. Let it settle. Let it grow. And if something about this felt like truth, trust that you're exactly where you need to be. We're walking this path too, here at Mindset Mastery Hub. This is what an identity shift feels like. Messy, emotional, and absolutely necessary. You begin to question not just what you do, but who you are becoming. Your self-image, once shaped by fear or external validation, starts to dissolve. And in its place, a quieter, truer voice emerges. One that doesn't shout for approval, but whispers with clarity. When you take time to observe the stories that no longer serve you, you reclaim power. You choose to rewire your belief systems, consciously daily, until the new version of you becomes the default. This is subconscious programming at its core. You stop living by reaction and start creating with intention. Mental conditioning isn't optional here. It's the very framework that allows your nervous system to stabilize while everything around you evolves. You don't just visualize your goals. You feel them as real. You speak them as present. You act as if they already belong to you. That's becoming your future self, not one day, but right now. And when you finally have faith in yourself, deeply and without apology, the world begins to meet you at that level of belief. Not because the world changed, but because you did. So today, pause, breathe, and remember, you are not behind. You are in the exact moment where the shift begins. And we're right here with you at Mindset Mastery Hub. You've done the inner work. You've questioned the old scripts. You've made space for the future you. Now comes the most powerful step of all, living it. There's a moment, subtle but sacred, where the transformation clicks into place. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer trying to become her. You are her. Not because of the clothes you wear, the title you carry, or the number in your bank account, but because of how you think, how you speak to yourself, how you move through the world without shrinking. This is integration. It's when identity shift becomes your baseline, not your effort. You're no longer acting as if, you're acting from a place of wholeness, from clarity, from conviction. Your self-image has caught up with your vision. Your belief systems no longer sabotage, they serve. This is what personal transformation truly looks like in motion. You show up differently in conversations. You no longer chase validation, you embody value. You don't just set boundaries, you believe you deserve them. And it doesn't require forcing, because the old programming has been overwritten. This is subconscious programming at its highest form, natural, embodied, unstoppable. But here's what makes this stage sacred. You start taking action that matches your worth. You apply for things you used to talk yourself out of. You speak your truth in rooms you once shrank in. You forgive faster, not because people deserve it, but because you do. You deserve peace. You now understand that mental conditioning isn't a tool you use when you're lost. It's a lifestyle, a daily recalibration to your highest self. And visualization power? It's no longer just a practice. It's your reality. You see yourself clearly, so the world responds in kind. This is becoming your future self, fully, unapologetically. Napoleon Hill's legacy wasn't just about success. It was about alignment, about making sure your outer world never outruns your inner world. Because when you lead from within, you don't just achieve, you attract. You magnetize people, opportunities, and moments that resonate with your truest frequency. That's not magic, that's integrity. So what now? You live like it's already yours. You stop auditioning, you start inhabiting, you show up to life like someone who knows they belong. Because now, you do. And the people who meet this version of you, they'll feel it. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll know there's something about her. There's something about you. So today, make the bold choice, not to hustle harder, but to trust deeper. The new you isn't waiting on the sidelines. She's already walking. Catch up to her. Match her energy, let her lead. And as you do, remember, you don't have to do this alone. You're part of something bigger. This is Mindset Mastery Hub, and this is only the beginning. Because here's the deeper truth. Act as if isn't pretending. It's practicing trust. It's a bridge between who you've been and who you're becoming. You begin with belief, not evidence. You act as if you already are, confident, grounded, successful, not to trick yourself, but to show your nervous system what's possible. This practice rewires the subconscious. It shows your brain, this is safe, this is normal. And with repetition, your inner world stops resisting. It starts aligning. You stop asking for permission. You start taking up space. But none of this is sustainable without one thing: faith in yourself. Because when the external results lag behind your inner growth, and they often do, you'll need something stronger than logic to keep going. You'll need trust that you're not delusional, that your instincts aren't broken, that the version of you you're becoming is real. Even before anyone else sees her, Napoleon Hill called this unwavering belief the hidden key. Not talent, not timing, not luck, faith in yourself. And once you integrate that faith, once you stop seeking approval and start embodying truth, your world shifts, because belief is the blueprint, and action from that belief is what builds the life. So take the step. No more waiting, no more shrinking. The new you isn't a fantasy, she's a decision. And that decision happens today. Welcome to the next level of you. This is Mindset Mastery Hub, and this is where belief becomes reality.